Welcome to Finding Hanasa documentary, a project of Global Agents of Change. I am Ann Lindholm, your host, and in this interview, I will be speaking with Jeff Warne, and he shed some light just on some of his experiences as a human being, and we touch on various topics such as faith, political views, sexual identity, culture in general. And Jeff really just he has such an interesting view on life. It's very refreshing, and I know that I've learned a lot from Jeff. We call him Warner, and I believe that you can learn some things from Warner as well. So come along as I sit down with Warner and we have a conversation around these topics. Thanks for joining Finding Hanasa. Welcome to our conversation on cultural wellness. My name is Ann Lindholm, and
We're cousins
we are
by marriage.
That's true. Yes, we'll get into some of that in a minute. But this is Finding Hanasa, Cultural Wellness Documentary, which is a project of Global Agents of Change. And here I have my cousin by marriage. We call him Warner, or Jeff.
Right.
And you are one of the people that just has a wide variety background of experiences, different cultural networks, and all the things. And so you were one of the key people that I thought of immediately when I decided to do this documentary.
I hope that's a good thing.
I think it's a good thing.
Okay.
We'll decide at the end. Maybe
All right.
we'll have a vote.
Okay.
So, what is your ethnic background, your ethnic makeup?
My father was Jewish. My mother was Catholic. I'm Catholic.
Wait, Catholic is not an ethnicity.
I'm sorry. That's true. You said background.
Yeah.
So my ethnicity on my mother's side is pure British, and on my father's side, pure, well, actually not pure anything. Some British and quite a bit of Central and Eastern Jewish European.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we get to talk like the British, but then we have to mesh it
I won't
with
do
the
that.
Jewish accent. I'm going to have to figure that. Hold on. It's been a while since I've done the Jewish accent. And then, so religious wise, Catholicism, and anything else?
No, I
Okay.
have always, I consider myself Christian, and for me, the best way to practice my faith and enjoy my faith is through Catholicism.
Okay.
By choice. I'm the only person in my family that's still a practicing Catholic. Now, most of my family's dead, so they can't practice it. But I certainly considered other options, and Catholicism for me rang the truest. And I do believe in the intercessionary role of the dead and saints, and I do believe that Mary, the mother of Jesus, holds a special place in the overall spiritual realm, and those things tend to be more Catholic than anything else.
Do most of your close friends, colleagues, are they practicing Catholics?
Very few. Whatever anyone believes, I accept. I think that's friendship, and I think that's part of being a Christian. So I don't have a lot of practicing Catholic friends. My husband is kind of a cafeteria Catholic. He would call himself a Catholic, but he doesn't really go to Mass and go to confession and that sort of thing. But most of my friends range from atheists to agnostics to highly conservative people in numerous faiths. I have some conservative Muslim friends, conservative Jewish friends, conservative Christian friends. Uh, that's their right, and I respect that.
And so you haven't been beheaded, you haven't been coerced to submit to any other religion or God, you haven't taken another person's life.
No, none of the above.
You're all still friends.
I'm still friends. Most of my friends are lifetime friends. I do make a lot of new friends through my work, and they are as diverse as the stars in the sky.
So, you mentioned your husband,
Hmm.
and if we're all looking at the same person, we can come to the conclusion that you live a homosexual lifestyle. Is that fair to say, or is that an improper way to say it?
I think it's probably an improper way to say it. I am a human being
Yeah.
who uh, want to be considered a guy,
Hmm.
and I'm a guy who happens to be gay. I
From society's perspective,
I would hope that's what society's
we would
perspective would
hope,
be.
but
But that's how I engage
yeah.
with society. I don't really enjoy any person's company that the bases of what they are, who they
Yeah.
are, how they live is their sexuality.
So are you saying that you enjoy being around other people for their humanness?
That would be about the only reason.
That's such a
The better side of it, I mean, I'll accept anybody and everybody, but it doesn't mean I want to hang out with them. At certain times, that's you, sister.
But we have some great
Yes, we
conversation though.
do. Yes, we do. And I'm teasing when I say that.
No. No, and so I'm glad that this conversation went the way that it did just now, because again, this is a learning point. This is one of the reasons behind this documentary. Um, George and I, Warner's husband, we were having some conversation last night just about the time period of, uh, I think what in the 80s with the initial like gay pride parades and things like that, and the reasons behind the parades. Um, I know for a lot of people from specific, kind of different camps saw the parades and still see them with the purpose of a community pushing their ideology onto everyone else. But what I heard George saying last night was one of the biggest reasons the parade started to begin with was because there was just a lot of anger felt from being unheard and from not receiving the same rights as other human beings. Is that fair to say?
Yes, I think that's fair. I mean, I don't not enjoy St. Patrick's Day parades because I think they're trying to convert me to be Irish,
Yeah.
or Annie Malone parades because I think they're trying to convert me to be African American. Uh, I think there's maybe a bit of a misnomer to the original word gay pride parade because I think it was probably a protest in equal measures to being a parade. I am not a very active gay person in parades and such, not from any lack of pride, but I don't take pride in that I'm gay.
Mm-hmm.
I take pride in that I hope I'm a good person.
Yeah.
I do take pride in the fact that, I'm a Christian and I love Christ. I personally take pride in that. That doesn't mean other people have to feel that way.
Yeah.
So, from a gay standpoint, I can understand that people who felt marginalized or alone needed that community. I can say, as a realtor of 40 years, there used to be, quote, gay ghettos, gay neighborhoods. And as gays have been more and more accepted, you just really don't see that
Mm-hmm.
much in many cities.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there are still enclaves by choice, but I don't think people feel so isolated, or I hope they don't,
Mm-hmm.
that they need to feel uh, a sense of protection by only being amongst their own.
Mm-hmm.
Again, sexuality is just that. I
Yeah.
don't care who you're sleeping with, who she's sleeping with. I don't give a damn what you do.
Yeah.
That's not what makes us as humans
That's right.
gather together and be friends.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a good thing. It's just not a part of my
Yeah.
annual need to celebrate.
So let me ask you this, because I know that we have a fairly open relationship. While we may not, you and George and myself may not spend a lot of time together in person, the time that we do spend, I feel that we've had fairly open conversations.
Always.
We may not always agree on things, and we may
Nobody
even get a
does.
little bit heated in a conversation here and there. And I feel like more often than not, it's all in good fun. Um, for someone who, because we all have people in our lives that, whether it has to do with sexual identity, whether it has to do with political ideology or faith, whatever the thing is, that can be a very divisive point in relationship. Specifically speaking on gay lifestyle, sexual identity, what are just some personal experiences that you have had? How can you share with us, like educate us, for somebody who has that person in their family? They want to still be in relationship with them. They don't know how. They don't know how to, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't know what's right, what's wrong. They don't know what they can say, what they shouldn't say, and all the things. And I
I
think
would
sometimes we overcomplicate it, but not everybody has an opportunity to be around someone who's open, and you know what I'm saying? So
I would suggest that if people just use their intelligence, you're not going to sit down with your sister and say, "Tell me about your sex life.
I love
Who'd you
it.
sleep with? How did it make you feel?
Yeah.
Was that person well endowed in a male or female way?" You don't ask your parents these questions. They're private matters.
Yeah.
So, really, if you have somebody gay in your family, you should treat them like you treat everybody else in your family.
Yeah.
You don't talk about that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you want them happy. Your concern, your focus should be, is this a healthy relationship? Is it only about sex for
Right.
you or the other? That might not lead to a healthy place.
Right.
So let's begin by acknowledging, if we don't treat other people in the family differently based on who they sleep with, then don't make it important in your life if you have a gay person in your family. And another very important thing, never say in front of a gay person, if there's a conversation, what do you think? Your sister's gay? Never have a reaction like, oh my God, no. Because you're telling the gay person in your life you think there's something wrong with them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not faking people out that you accept them for their sexuality. A, it's none of your fucking business. B, just accept it.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with you. Moms, dads, you didn't do anything. Friends, you didn't do anything. No gays have a campaign to switch you. It is inherent in your humanity. So either you're gay or you're not. Now, there are people who sexually,
Yeah.
they can have sex with anyone and everyone. That's their thing. But that's not gay.
Mm.
That's sexuality. Gay is being attracted to someone of the same sex uniquely.
Yeah.
It is inherent, it is innate. You are who you are. Nobody made you that way. Nobody's going to change you by sending you to a therapy camp. Just treat them with love, respect, and ask questions that are pertinent.
Yeah.
Are you engaging in a healthy lifestyle? Meaning, do you have good friends? Are you going to work? Just like you would anybody else.
Yeah.
There are so many problems with straight people. Get yourself figured out before you're worried about the gay people.
This is so valid.
And I tell you something, and I believe this: no one gives a rat's ass about anybody else.
Yeah.
You can dislike me for saying this, but if a mother is starving to death, then there's a piece of meat on a tray, and her kids are starving. It is likely she's going to grab that piece of meat and eat it herself.
Yeah.
That's what it is to be human.
Yeah.
You're just not that important.
Right.
You're not that interesting, and your opinions on somebody else's life are of no value.
Yeah.
Be supportive, and if you really feel somebody is evil, I guess would be the word, and I believe evil exists, then you cut them out of your life. But you do it based on behavior that is not conducive to good living, not sexuality or who somebody finds attractive. So, I would apply this to so many things outside of being gay. But if there's somebody gay in your family and you don't know how to handle it, you handle it like you do everybody else in the family. If you're a dick to everybody in the family, be a dick. If you are supportive and caring and loving, then that's what you do without any falsity to it.
No, I love what you're saying, because I think this is part of the problem is we tend to take this thing that we don't agree with and we make that the center of every relationship. And I've personally seen this um, in the United States, especially. Gosh, over the last, I would say, 10 years specifically, it seems like we have become more polarized and divided than we ever have been before, especially politically and maybe religiously to a degree. But it's almost as if you're either in this camp or that camp, and there's nothing in between, and it's us versus them. And I feel like what I hear you saying with regard to this particular topic is it's almost like it's become that. If you don't believe the way I do, or if you don't agree the way I do, you're becoming my project, or you are, like you used the word villain, I think it was, um, and there's just nothing good in you. And it's just so many extremes. And so I think it's really important what you are bringing up, and that you're human. And I love how you shed light on, like, these are not conversations we're having with other people. Why is this? Why is this even like becoming okay? So we have some different interests and different practices and whatnot, but like, can we still just communicate? And
I agree with that. I do want to say nobody can stand in judgment of somebody else.
right,
Only God can do that.
that's right.
As to they're a villain
Mm.
or evil, I think is
Yeah,
the word I
that's
use.
yeah, that's what you used. Yeah.
Evil behavior is identifiable.
Mm-hmm.
That does not mean that that person cannot be redeemed, that person cannot turn the page. But if they're going through a period that is evil in its intent and in its behavior, then that's somebody that probably should not be in your life at that time.
Right.
You should still believe in them, pray for them, whatever your value system offers you.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, and we could talk about America, other countries. America is a country where the first thing people consider successful is how much money do you
That's
have.
right. Yeah.
By God's grace, I am enormously wealthy. And I'm kidding, just wealthy, not enormously. And if anybody thought that made me a good person, I wouldn't want to be their friend.
Yeah. Come
I've
on.
worked my ass off.
Yeah.
I worked 2 full-time jobs for 40 years. Uh, I have a wonderful life partner, spouse, um, wonderful friends, and I've studied my work situations to do the best that I could.
Right.
And, I have not needed to constantly buy.
Mm.
I think that we deferred gratification for a long time. I mention these things for this reason. If the crux of your being is about being rich, then you'll be poor in every other way.
Right.
And that to me is the problem right now in
Yeah.
America. Certainly, people can have different opinions on politics, religion, all of those things.
Right.
They always have.
Yeah.
But it used to be that we, as Americans, wanted everybody to make it.
Right.
It
Yeah.
was important.
Right.
So if there was a communal spirit of we're all in this together, I want you to make it,
Yeah.
I'm going to make it, that's a nice society.
Right.
Other societies are still that way.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, cash is king now.
Mm-hmm.
That's all people value themselves. Uh, Many people used to establish what they think their value as a human being is.
Yeah.
Many years ago, when the Forbes richest people came out, the richest people refused to have anything to do with it. It was in poor taste.
Yeah.
It was irrelevant. And now they can't wait to be on that list. Well, that doesn't make it right.
Right. Yeah.
Right is when everybody wins, I win,
Yeah.
not I win at your expense,
Yeah.
or I'm going to surround myself with only people that are as wealthy as I am
Yeah.
and have nothing to do with others. Uh, anyway, I'm
Well,
rambling.
no, you're also sparking another important topic, which is the dangers of living within an echo chamber. And when we first began this conversation, you pointed out all the different people that you know and that you do life with, and you mentioned many different backgrounds. Do you feel that you gain a lot? Do you feel that you learn a lot from these people who come from so many different backgrounds that you are friends with, that you're doing life with?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All of our skeletons look exactly the same. So
Yeah.
we're talking about the candy on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
I like a lot of different candies. That's the wealth of living.
Yeah.
But to have that appreciation, you have to understand we're all the same
That's
skeletons.
right.
And life should be about learning from others.
So
Life
much.
should be a dance
Yeah.
with many partners. So for me, everybody's different, but for me, I don't know how I could live if everybody in my life was the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, do you feel like there's a danger in that? And do you feel like we're seeing more of that where people are tending to flock to and spend their life with certain groups of people that they identify on a large scale with versus having more inclusion, you know what I mean? More variety.
I don't know about that because that would be a judgment that it was wrong.
Yeah.
It's not for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to be a hypocrite. I live comfortably. I live, by and large, around people
Yeah.
very similar to myself,
Do
but
you mean
I
like economically? Is that what you're okay?
economically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's just the nature of community and where you choose to live.
Mm-hmm.
I choose to live in the area that I find the most comfortable for me.
Sure.
Um, but in our neighborhood, and we live here by choice, we have every race, every religion, every affiliation with religion or no religion. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I love the diversity of
Yeah.
life and I love the quilt, the fabric of community. So, do I think that many people are becoming too obsessed with only being with others like themselves? I don't know that that's anything new.
Yeah.
I don't think that Americans, based on our isolation geographically,
Mm.
really understand being around, quote, different people.
Mm-hmm.
We speak, by and large, one language.
Yeah.
We go great distances and we're still in America. Uh, the regional differences, even the accents, are going away. That's a shame, but you know, teach their own. A lot of people, I don't personally understand it,
Mm-hmm.
but I accept it. Only like to be around people like themselves.
Yeah.
To me, it's sad. To them, it might be comforting. So,
Yeah.
you know,
So you and George spend time. You have a place in another country. You have traveled to other countries. Um, how important do you feel it is to travel outside of your country, or at least outside of your atmosphere, your environment?
I I think it's enormously important, but and I'm going to bring up wealth as a matter of having an ability to.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly can't expect that people who can barely put food on the table or pay
Sure.
their rent can afford to go to Europe or Asia or India, Africa, South America.
Yeah.
I know many Americans of enormous wealth who never leave the country.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm not right, they're not wrong,
Yeah.
but it's very American. So, is it important for George and I to go to other cultures and learn from them and enjoy them and celebrate them? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But not at the expense of having pride in being an American
Sure.
and loving America.
Yeah.
This is our home. Many things I don't like, but many things I do.
Yeah.
America, may she always be right, but in her intercourse with foreign nations, right or wrong, it's our America.
Yeah.
Uh, and, you know, I believe that. I'm an American and I'm proud to be an American. I would love to see things change for the better. Uh, but thankfully, with our interest in travel, we get to go to other
Yeah.
places and uh, have exposure to things that might be better.
What are two things that you would like to see change in America?
I'd like to see more economic fairness and less polarity of the wealth and of the wealthy and the poor. So, first and foremost, probably that.
Mm.
And then, as far as what's changeable, I think that every American should have the right to, based on their performance throughout their education, to go to college for free.
Yeah.
And every American, and this does not mean I'm one party over another. I vote pretty much
You
50
almost sound
50.
like you're running for office.
Well, you know, I think basic things,
Yeah.
health, education, um, opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
those are rights of every person in America.
Yeah.
And we have lost sight of that
Right.
in this desire to be rich.
Yeah. I think I agree with you on that. So, one last question.
Already?
Yeah. Through your friends who come from different backgrounds, especially different religious backgrounds or vastly different cultural backgrounds, what is something that you've learned from them that has helped improve your life or that has changed your outlook
Oh, gosh.
for the better?
So many things, but probably the most important thing is community. Thinking of yourself as a part of
Yeah,
instead of apart from.
it's good. Yeah.
Many Americans only think of themselves. That's sad.
Mm-hmm.
Fine cultures that we've explored and enjoyed being a part of, you felt a part of the community. And that's probably the greatest thing that I've come to appreciate and love about my experience in the world of others
Yeah.
is approaching life as a group together, not a group of climbing on top of one another
Right.
and making it about me. As you know, and we've talked about this, in France, it's rude to ever start a conversation or a friendship with the question, what do you do?
Yeah.
In the States, it's perfectly normal, and that's fine. I'm an American. I would answer that question and not take offense.
Yeah.
But I like the thought behind it being offensive because what you're really doing is judging somebody immediately.
Yeah.
First question on, well, how much do you have?
Right.
So I love that there it's about, tell me about your family.
Mm-hmm.
What are your passions?
Yeah.
I think that's healthy.
It's
And
beautiful. Yeah.
that's something that if you don't travel, if you're not around others, you might not experience how nice it would be to take the focus off of what do you do and make it more about who are you.
Right. So much. So, is there anything that you want to share? I mean, just through the conversation, any thoughts that have come up? The whole goal, again, is to just help us all learn how to do community better and how to be more culturally aware of others. And when I say culturally aware, that is not limited to ethnicity, and parts of the world. That's in all things. Um, do you have any last thoughts that you want to share or tips on how, if somebody has a hard time relating to other people who are different than them, what advice would you give? What?
I think I'd probably remind people you're really not that important. No matter who you are, Elon Musk, he'll be dead, and 10 minutes later,
Yeah.
somebody's filled the void.
Yeah.
Maybe five. Uh, I think it's just important to love fiercely.
Yeah.
That's what we're asked to do. To forgive freely and get over it.
Yeah.
You're just not that important. I'm not, she's not, you're not.
Yeah.
So don't get caught up on it. Your opinion of how things should be matters not.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be remembered
Right.
for your opinion. I told you so. You're going to be remembered because people thought you were kind, decent, caring, a good person.
Yeah.
So forgive easily, love easily, accept always, and make life about who people are, not what they have.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
His emotional battery is, or social battery is done. So.